Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am here with my new horror story. Our today's story name is The Elevator. It's an horror one shot narrated by Park Jimin. So here, Park Jimin point of view. Hello everyone, I'm Park Jimin. Today I'm gonna share a real incident that happened to one of my friends. And sadly, she is no more. Okay, so before we start, I want to give you a little information which can be helpful for you guys. Information about number 4. In California and Japan, 4 number is considered as a bad one because in California, 4 number is pronounced as hanja, which means entry to death. And in Japan, 4 number is pronounced as she, which also means entry to death. Now let's start. Yoni was my friend. Now let's start. 17 February 2021, Damyang said. Hey Yoni, when will you apart for Damyang? Aren't you getting late? One of her co-workers asked, being concerned for her. Yoni said, yeah, I'm just leaving, not on worry. She answered her with a grin. She just nodded at her response. Yoni took her leave from her office and headed towards the bus stop. It was dusk. There were not much people. It was quite dark. However, it was just quarter of 7 p.m. only. These days, she were not having a busy schedule, so she requested her senior to send her Damyang to meet a client. However, she were little excited to meet her client since it will be her first time to meet a client. She were waiting for her bus while an earpod plugged in her ear. She felt her felt automatically started to move with the rhythm of the song. Cold winds were hitting her skin, making the environment cold a bit. After a good 4-5 minutes, her bus arrived. She got in it and settled down on an empty seat. Thus, the bus was empty. Only few passengers were there. The environment of the bus was so quiet and peaceful that makes her a little sleepy. But she was trying not to doze off, cause she still have to travel for almost 3 hours to reach Damyang. After 3 hours at Damyang, 10:16 p.m., the bus stopped. She got out from the bus and was about to ask someone for an order. But instantly, her eyes landed on an old-looking building. There was a board which was hanging there at the side on a plate with hotel written on it. Now she got it. It's an old hotel building. She took her steps ahead towards that building. She just have to spend one night. It will not be a big deal if I guess. When she entered inside that house, somehow she felt off a bit. There was a receptionist who was looking at her creepily. Her creepy smile somehow was making her feel weak. But she just ignored her and made her way towards her. Yoni, excuse me, is there any vacuous room? I just want to spend one night. Receptionist. Oh, welcome ma'am. Yes, there is a vacuous room. Here is the key for room number 4. Yoni said, thank you. She thanked her, which she gaily replied to her. She got her keys and made her way towards the elevator. When she was passing by, she saw a man who was sitting on a bench while his head was down. He got up and started to walk behind her. His action took her off guard, but she acted cool. Maybe he was also going to use the elevator. She entered inside the elevator. He followed her and stand behind her. She pressed the elevator number 6 and waited until her floor arrived. But the thing that made her surprised was the elevator's number. She had never been the evidence of that thing, because she had never seen number 4 at any elevator of any building. Scared, but she stayed calm. Momently, she looked at her bag, and he was there, still lowering his head. After the moment, her floor arrived. She got out and started to look for her room, minding her own business. She was looking all the number plates, but then she noticed she was on the 4th floor. Momentarily, her mind got blank. She stepped back and she stopped at her place and was questioning to herself that haven't she pressed the number 6? She thought a bit and again went to the elevator. Taking a deep breath, she entered inside. Maybe she spontaneously pressed the wrong number, she guessed. It was all empty. This time she carefully pressed the number 6 and waited. But unknowingly, she felt a presence behind her. She slowly looked at her bag and jolted. Her breath became heavier. He was there smiling creepily. Between. She panicked and constantly she started to press any random number. She froze when he started to move towards her. His breath was hitting on her neck when he said to her, "Want some help?" She got goosebumps all over her body. Her hands were shivering due to the anxiety. She couldn't move an inch. Suddenly, the elevator opened and she ran outside. Out from there, she didn't know which floor she was on, but she didn't look back and continued to find an exit door. Her heart started to palpitation vigorously when she realized she was still on the floor. This time, she decided to use stairs instead of elevator. She hurriedly went downstairs when she saw the exit door. Grasping the door knob, she started to unlock it, but eventually she failed several times. As the time was passing, her anxiety level increased too. She walked over her surrounding. There was no one there. She gradually pivoted ahead, knowing where to go. She stopped on her track when her gaze fell on one of the rooms. She read the number plate. She realized she was trapped. She stepped back to go upstairs, but stopped when she saw him coming towards her. Her legs felt so weak, but somehow she managed to run from there. She shouted for help, but no one seemed to hear it. She was exhausted, breathing violently. She stopped a bit. Hands were on her knees. When she looked up, he was there right in front of her, while facing his back to her. She tripped on her feet and miserably fell down. He said, "You look tired. You look so tired. Why don't you just take a rest?" He said smilingly while protruding towards her. Who are you? Please spare me." She was dragging herself to stay away from him, but he eventually pulled her leg towards him. She was dragging herself to stay away from him, but he abruptly pulled her leg towards him and hovered above her. She tried to defend herself. She almost hit him with the key that she had with her, but she grasped both of her hands and pinned her. He said, "This is gonna be fun." He took her hand and dragged it towards her throat, and brutally making her cut her own throat with the help of the key, with the edge of key. Tears were coming from the corner of her eyes because of the unbearable pain. He didn't seem to care. Her vision got blurry. He didn't stop until she lost her consciousness completely. End of Jimmy Potter. So I hope you guys like my story. If you like my stories, please subscribe my channel for this type of stories. Thank you.